Hey, what's up everybody, BDO44 coming at you in another video. Alright, so I just got through finishing a playlist and I'm trying to sit here. I saw a video online that was basically saying that D'Lo and DeJounte really fit well next to each other on this team with AD and Bron. And seeing as how the Atlanta Hawks don't want D'Lo anyway, all they really need is for us to be able to match that salary, because they don't want D'Lo. They want the equivalent of D'Lo from a third team and send D'Lo there. But what difference does it make to them that we move D'Lo? Just that amount of money, correct? And if the field don't want D'Lo any damn way, then why don't I just try to move that salary and see if I can find somebody who would take what I have at that salary? That's the equation for the Lakers at this point. Because what I'm listening to is people didn't want D'Lo just 5 minutes ago. And even now, the very last thing I heard, even with him playing this well, is that the rest of the field would rather us attach something to get rid of him. Atlanta wants us to find someone to take D'Lo. But if D'Lo ain't worth what he's supposed to be worth in the salary match, and Atlanta, don't want him, then all they really need us to do is find somebody to match the salary. Am I looking at this correctly? Because you figure $18 million is what it is for DeJounte Murray. 17 point something, 18 million basically. Does it make any difference? I'm trying to make sure if I'm looking at this correctly. Does it really make any difference where that $18 million comes from as it pertains to our books? It's not like the demand from Atlanta is that we move D'Lo somewhere else. It's that we find someone else to take D'Lo because they don't want him. What difference does it make where he goes? What if he stays here? What if we were to keep him here and move that 18 elsewhere and get them back whatever the hell they want for that 18? Could that be at all possible, is what I'm asking. Now look at the numbers. I say Rui Hachimura and Gabe Vincent or something like that. But then I look at Rui Hachimura and realize he's on the first year of a 4-year deal. That's worth more to me at his salary based on what it is I expect him to become than D'Lo is. Rui's contract is better than D'Lo's. So I'm not just going to throw that in as a replacement for D'Lo. That don't make no sense to me. That costs you more to take. Since the field don't want D'Lo, they're not recognizing D'Lo's high scoring ways over the last 8 games. They're not recognizing that. But what if I do, as a Laker fan, and I'm saying I want to find a way to get DeJounte Murray without giving up D'Lo, and I don't want to give up Rui either. Essentially, what I have to do is take Gabe Vincent, Taurean Prince, and pick equity, Jalen Hood-Schifino, possibly young player Max Christie, Max Lewis, and all types of other stuff to make Taurean Prince and Gabe Vincent someone would take. Now, I know the Toronto Raptors have interest in Max Christie. Does it mean that much to Laker fans to keep D'Lo, but to lose Max Christie when he's restricted, probably a more valuable contract in theory than D'Lo, based on the fact that you don't necessarily have to lose him? That's within the team's control because he's restricted. You can match whatever he signs at the end of this season. So that's attractive to a team like Toronto. Now, I'm not just on the verge of moving Max Christie when I don't have to. But if the goal is to try to keep D'Lo and bring DeJounte to us, you got to get rid of something. I hate to tell Laker fans this. I hate to say this to myself. But Gabe Vincent and Taurean Prince are not going to get you $17 million worth of anything in this league. They're worth a lot less than that. Those are bad contracts. Taurean Prince is a fair contract, $7 million expiring. That's fair. But Gabe Vincent, his contract is trash, especially with him being hurt. And that's really where we're dying here, Laker fans. That's why it doesn't look feasible to make anything happen without giving up something you don't want to give up. That's why. Because we were the team that signed Gabe Vincent. You know what I mean? If we would have taken that $10 million and found a more valuable place to put it, we could now have then turned around and traded it. But since it's in something that isn't worth a damn, we can't use it. And that is why I always tell teams, it's not harmless to overpay dudes. It's not harmless to trade away picks and players and all different types of stuff at value that's not worth. Because when you get down to the margins and you have things you don't want to trade, but you want something good, these are the mistakes that keep you from getting those things. This is why I always scream, bad contract this, good contract that, pick equity value. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't just toss assets away to just get players that aren't worth a damn. Don't sign players that aren't worth a damn. This is why you don't sign some of these vets, because when it's time to do stuff like this, you can't make moves without giving up stuff you don't want to give up. This is why Thanasis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee is so harmful. It's harmful because when you try to get into the margins of what it is you're trying to do, his value in his roster space is a valuable thing that is worth a damn because he ain't no good. No disrespect to anybody, but we're just going to be honest about these type of things. This is why Corey Joseph contract is on the Golden State Warriors. Not playing very well. He's a role player, probably should be in China because Chris Paul is eating up $34 million or whatever it is. This is why the $47 million Russell Westbrook was the problem. This is exactly why it was the problem. For all those Clipper fans who were saying Russell wasn't the problem, if you had him on a $47 million contract, believe me, he would be the problem. You got him on a $1 million contract. For the Lakers, if he was on a $1 million contract, he would not be the problem. These things matter because it tells the story of who's on your team and who you'll be able to trade for what. So look at $10 million in Gabe Vincent is harmful to the Lakers at 3 years because we can't trade it for just a simple thing that we want to trade without having to throw in players that we'd rather not throw in. You're forced to, just with $10 million. So what the hell is 47 going to do? What the hell is 36 going to do to the Golden State Warriors? You see what I'm saying? It's not harmless. These things are not harmless. Teams need to rectify these issues. If you got these useless players on your team or you got an owner that doesn't understand this, send him this video. Because these are the type of things he needs to understand and know how he can make his team as good as he wants it to be so he don't have to fire his coach for not getting more out of guys who can't. Simply can't, you know what I mean? And going up against a guy like Luka Doncic who can go for 73 points, you want to be able to make your team as good as possible to defeat him. And you can't do that with empty roster spots with players that are going to play empty basketball, basically. And old guys that ain't worth nothing in the market. You know, guys that have been floating around the league for 10 years averaging 5 points. Now when you try to move them, this is the issue you run into. And it reflects directly onto how good or how bad your team is, your coaches are, etc. I don't think it's possible for the Lakers to do this without throwing in D'Lo or Rui or a combination of Max and JHS and first round pick of 29. You can't get anybody to take these contracts that we would like to give up with the, you know, in order to get back anything you want. You're gonna get back more of the same from others. Maybe fix their problem, take your problem for my problem, that kind of thing. But you trying to get DeJounte Murray, there's nobody in the league that's gonna be willing to take the salary matches of a hurt Gabe Vincent and Taurean Prince. No one's going to do that. No one in their right mind. No one that's any good at their job. So that's the problem the Lakers are running into. If they've had a change of heart and they want to keep D'Lo, or they see the fruit in bringing DeJounte and D'Lo together, which I think could be pretty good, considering how well D'Lo shoots and how good DeJounte could play defense. And if they're both clicking, you can get 25 points out of both of them. So if Bron's not having a good night, or if AD can't seem to score, you can still win the game by a lot if you have to keep up with a team that can score 140 points. Then you can keep Austin Reeves coming off the bench for both of them, rotating for the both of them. If anybody gets in foul trouble, you just bring him in. And then it brings me to this. how much do I need some of these other pieces if that would be my trio of guards? They're all going to need over 20 minutes. So am I still having the same role for Gabe Vincent, or rather Max Christie, or say Taurean Prince, if people want to use him at the 2, since I've been hearing that on the internet a lot lately, which I think is asinine, bro. You do not use Taurean Prince at the 2. Same reason why people don't want to move Rui to the 3 is why you definitely don't move Prince to the 2. It just doesn't work. Too slow. But will you have the same role for Cam Reddish if you're bringing in DeJounte Murray? And if the answer is no, then viewing them the way that you view them right now doesn't quite do it justice for what they'll be when you bring the player that you're bringing to you. And that should adjust how you feel about sending them out. And I don't think I'm the greatest at that. That's not my expertise. But I'm definitely certain that's one of the things that I need to really be thinking about right now. Jalen Hood-Schifino is an important piece. But if I got DeJounte Murray, Austin Reeves, do I still need him? If I can keep D'Lo, does he even have a role on this team in the next couple of years? Probably not. Not if D'Lo opts in. He'll be in the same role next year, unless somebody gets hurt, which is possible. But you're bringing in DeJounte Murray. That's a 33-minute a game guy. He's going to take his minutes. He's going to take a lot of people's minutes if we're doing this correctly. So that is what the equation is for me right now. Is there any kind of way I can get D'Lo and DeJounte on the same team? Because in my mind's eye, that is a playoff backcourt. Especially if D'Lo is going to be improved defensively, which it looks like he can be. He can be. Now, if the deal's already done, I'm not trying to change nobody's mind. If you got a deal on the table, if the Laker brass happens to watch me, and you got a deal on the table that you're already set on, I haven't changed my mind in regards to being willing to let D'Lo go. But I do think in the quest of trying to win a championship, I want the highest level talent on my team possible. And I cannot deny that sending D'Lo out and bringing DeJounte in is almost lateral to me at this point. Because there are things that D'Lo can do that DeJounte cannot, and there are things that DeJounte can't do that D'Lo can do. It's lateral almost. This is basically lateral. And I'm not interested in making lateral moves. However, I do need DeJounte's contract for future stability in my point guard position. I need that. So I'm going to value that over D'Lo. But it doesn't mean that I think it made this team better, and my timeline needs to be addressed properly. So do I really want to send a high-level guy like D'Lo out when I'm trying to win right now? We talk about the value of a rental. If the timeline is right now, then rentals are valued high. Even Taurean is valued high as an expiring contract if the timeline is only 6 more months, the rest of the season. And so that needs to be taken into account as we send things out. Same thing with Max Christie. If he can help us for the rest of the year, even if you don't retain him, he still holds more value than we would to a team that ain't trying to do nothing this year. If you value him as a win now piece. Should we not be thinking about acquiring more expiring contracts with that same thing on our minds? Or is stability more important? These are questions that need to be answered with further thought, but that's what comes to mind, man. These are the type of things that are coming to mind. Can we find a way to keep D'Lo on this team and still get DeJounte? And if so, do we value what we are shipping out the same way if we were to not do the trade? Players that are going to be at that position, do they have the same role? Likely not if you're bringing in such high-level DeJounte and keeping high-level D'Lo and keeping high-level Austin all in rotation at the 2 guard and the 1 guard spot. So that's what it comes to mind for me. I'm moving Gabe Vincent regardless because it's dead weight. People are saying he's coming back at the end of the year to play playoff ball. I don't care for that. I don't care for that. I don't have the highest expectations for him. I think a lot of people expect for him to come in and make plays for others. I don't see him as anybody that does that. That's what I want people to understand about me in regards to Gabe Vincent. I don't think Gabe Vincent's a point guard at all. I think he's a shooting guard. I think he's somebody like, I want to say Avery Bradley, but not nearly as gifted defensively, obviously. But like Avery wasn't looking to make plays for nobody, you know what I mean? He was looking to get his own shot and defend. That's how I look at Gabe Vincent. I think people want Gabe Vincent to play point guard. It ain't gonna work. I mean, he's not a horrible passer, but like as far as him trying to get more than 5 or 6 assists, like you want him to get people the ball, that ain't his game. And because Laker fans don't know him because we ain't seen him, I think people are assuming because he's short at 6'2" that he's gonna come in and play point guard. And I think people need to do a little more homework on that player before they ask him to play the 1. I think it's a mistake. So he's like an undersized 2, man. So I don't really need him, if I'm being completely honest. I didn't think he was the worst signing in the world at the beginning, because he was just coming off NBA championship run. Even though they didn't win it, they got to the finals. He was in the Miami system. But once I saw him here with what it is that we had, I just didn't see the need for him. He just didn't look like a piece that I really wanted to use over a Max Christie or Austin Reeves or a D'Lo. I'd rather those guys eat all his minutes. Even Cam Reddish with the height and the length, I'd just rather him eat those minutes. Those guys eat his minutes rather. So I don't care like for him to come back at all. He can go to another team that values what he is more. And I just don't think we are that team. I think we would be taking minutes away from people that it would likely be better for what we're doing than he will be fresh off of knee surgery, especially. So for me, it's like, let's move that just to be moving it. Get that out of here so we ain't got to worry about it no more. That's 3 years at, what, $10 million? I don't want this problem next year. I don't want this problem the year after that either. So, yeah, let's get that out of here right now. That was simply a mistake. And if we can do that, I think we'll be happy we did. And like I said, I like Cam Reddish a lot. But if he can help us in this process by moving him, then that's something somebody needs to do. We need to do that. I like Cam Reddish. Don't get it twisted. And I think other teams will too, given the fact that he's shown himself to be a nice defensive player. Has some nice footwork in the paint, lay the ball up, this, that, and the third. But if I got to choose between him and Max Christie, I'm going to take the upside of Max Christie with the restricted contract. I'm going to do that. Because the one thing I'm worried about with Cam Reddish is, can he stay healthy? He came into the league with a bad knee injury. Not too long after he got drafted, that injury kept him out for months and months and months and months. I ain't forgot about that. And he ain't had nothing but injury issues since he got here. And his jump shot is, not reliable. Coach overplays him, and as a result, he ends up exposing his wear and tear and his fragility at this point. And the upside may not necessarily be there. Even though he's 25, 26 years old, the upside may not necessarily be there. When you weigh it against those injuries that are piling up. So for me, it's like I shop him. I shop Vincent. Those are the 2 guys I'm shopping the most right now. And I'm pulling back on D'Lo. If people ain't willing to give me more than what D'Lo's worth, then I'm pulling him off the table and I'm finding another way to move that money. I'm not moving Rui unless I have to. I've been listening to a lot of people talk about Dorian Finney-Smith. I think Father Time caught up to Dorian Finney-Smith. I ain't gonna lie to you. We might be buying a lemon there. Just like Gabe Vincent, that might be a lemon. If you're looking for him to be the dude he was in Dallas, he ain't in that type of shape right now. He's not. We just got to look at him. He ain't looking like that. So if you're giving up Rui Hachimura on year 1 of a good contract for Dorian Finney-Smith, thinking he about to turn into Dallas Dorian Finney-Smith, you ain't see what I just saw. He ain't that. I'm cool. I'm not making that move. I'd rather have Rui at this point. I like the upside of Rui. I like the contract of Rui. I'm not moving young Rui for what I think could be the beginning of the end of Dorian Finney-Smith. I'm not doing that. So these are the type of things we just thinking about, man. I wouldn't have said it about 3 weeks ago, but this is a new day. We're in a new space, and you got to update your data. I also want to apologize to OG Anunoby. I want to apologize officially to OG Anunoby. I said he was done. I don't necessarily think that what I saw in Toronto is what he's showing me in New York. And while I still think he's one injury away, he's injury prone, he's proved that, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, sometimes guys are just being held back because they're on the verge of being traded. Not given the minutes, thus the production isn't there. And if you don't watch teams, you don't really know. But I do know he's always injured. But right now he looks great. And so it's easy for me to say I was wrong there, given the fact that I thought he was just done. He ain't done. And I think we all know that at this point, so I wanted to put that on here as well. I've been thinking about that. He's playing great. And fits well, as I knew he would. I knew he would fit well on that team, New York. So that's neither here nor there. The point is, man, the real point of this conversation is I'm gaining a desire to keep D'Lo out of trade talks because I don't think his value is being realized in the improvement of his play. If people ain't going to take what they've seen over the last 8 games into the price tag because they want to hold the Nick Young thing against him, then I'm not trading him at this price. I'm not trading him while he's playing well if the price tag when he's playing well is the same when it's not in the market. You feel me? If they're not going to recognize his new price, then I'm not moving it. That don't make no sense to me. Y'all don't want him? Well, I got to canvas the league to take a player that just hit 8 threes? Nah. We ain't going to play that game with y'all. That's Laker tax. And I don't do Laker tax. Y'all going to either do a straight up deal with me or we will keep our highly well-playing basketball player that desperately doesn't want to be traded and add that to the leverage that we have for players not wanting to leave our franchise. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He's fighting his butt off to be a Laker. I ain't going to just be canvassing the league, try to find somebody to take him. It speaks to the desire of the league wanting to be on my team. So no, I'm not looking at that way. If they want to pay the increased price for D'Lo, for which we would have to pay for any one of their good playing players, then I'm up for that. But otherwise, no, I'm not going to be just searching out the rest of the league to move him. I'm not doing that. But I will move some trash. You know what I'm saying? I'll move some trash off of my team. And if that'll get the deal done with Atlanta, then I think that's the equation. You know, we got guys like Jackson Hayes. You throw in enough Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish, Taurean Prince, Gabe Vincent. Throw enough of them dudes in. If you can find enough people who can find use for them in multiple teams in regards to the trade that you're making, then maybe we can find the value we're looking for. 2nd round picks and trash out. If I got to throw in Jalen Hood-Schifino to make it enticing for somebody, then I will throw in Jalen Hood-Schifino to make it enticing. By the way, I told y'all Scottie Pippen was good. I told y'all. Now y'all seeing him in Memphis with real life league minutes, and he's killing it. I told y'all. It may not have made sense to draft Jalen Hood-Schifino because Scottie Pippen was probably just as good, and we could have taken whoever we really wanted in the draft, Cam Reddish, Jaime Jaquez, whoever. We could have taken that player and rolled with Scottie Pippen. I don't know why we didn't. I would have. So that's something I wanted to throw in there. And of course, it's the 24-minute, man. I can't do this without saying what's up to Kobe, his family. God bless y'all, man. We miss everybody who was lost that day. And this is the Kobe minute. I ain't done the Kobe minute in a long time, but this is the right day for it, man. The 26th. Just one of the worst days of anybody's lives in regards to this team, man. We went through the worst with that. And we're very thankful to have won the championship in his honor that year. But yeah, man, that's where I'll leave this video. I just wanted to bring that to you guys, man. I just had this on my mind. I think that our team can improve without moving D'Lo, especially if the price tag isn't going to be where it needs to be in regards to him playing better. So that's pretty much what I got to say. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.